Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Super Mario Galaxy Part 13. Part 13, fellas. Welcome back. Still got a bit of that itchy throat going on because this is being recorded, like I said in the last episode, directly after Part 12. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm not doing any more than 2. Okay? I don't even do that normally most of the time. We're not going to talk about the first 4 episodes of this series, you know. The first, 6 episodes or so of Diddy Kong Racing? God, it's always so funny going back on that Diddy Kong Racing shtick. The general shtick with that is very funny to joke about, even though it was 4 Let's Plays ago. That's crazy to me, by the way. I just gotta say, 4 Let's Plays ago? How has it already been that long, man? It was like 4 months ago or something. I feel like I messed this up a little. Wait, I want that. That was actually the most clutch grab in the world. Okay, so I know how those guys work now, by the way. I kind of glossed over it because we were yapping in the last episode. But I guess you just have to be on the opposite side, like, kind of like... Okay, hold on. Could you, maybe not? Yeah, you have to get him from the other side. That's a very clever mechanic. I like that a fair bit. But yeah, fellas, hope you all are doing well. I did mention towards the end of the last episode that I was going to touch a little on how my day is going so far. It's a nice, well, I want to say sunny. It is not sunny. There's some bad weather going on right now, but I mean, like, it's not raining right now, but it's a bit cloudy, right? It's a bit cloudy, kind of gloomy outside, but nonetheless, I have been living in constant, very, very heavy anticipation for the Switch 2 Direct in approximately 2 days as of the time I'm recording this video. By the time you guys are seeing this video, it'll have already been like almost a week. It'll have almost been a week since that video, or that Direct happened. I'm still so excited, man. I really don't know what much more I can say about stuff, because I've already talked a lot about, like, what I'm hoping to see in the Direct and whatnot, my personal things that I think would be very, very neat. I've been seeing some people suggesting that maybe it's going to be more of a showcase of the hardware itself, which is like, I don't know, man. It's like, I know inevitably they're going to talk about stuff like, the C button that's been rumored for ages. Well, I say rumored. It is almost positively going to be a thing. I think I talked about this element of it as well, but, obviously a lot of the leaks that were coming out for the Switch 2, a big thing that they touched on was the little button on the end being a C button. But when Nintendo's actual, trailer for it dropped in January, the button was a blank button that didn't showcase any symbol on it, which I think they were simply doing to hide a little bit of functionality. But I'm like, Doug, you don't have to show what the C button does. We already know it's a C button, dude. And I mean, I don't want to sit here and definitively say, we know for a fact what it does. But, like, we kind of almost do. Like, that's sort of the thing, man. Wow. Okay, maybe... Whoa. Physics. Hello. We kind of already do know, is the thing. The thing we don't know is what the functionality of it is going to be, which, they're probably going to touch on in the Direct, which I'm just so excited for, man. It could be something so basic, but also I think getting just that closure period amidst all these rumors that we've seen, I think it's going to be super neat. I think it's going to be super cool. And yeah, I don't know. It's been very weird having such a talking point of so many of these episodes for, even before this series started. I mean, we talked about it a bunch. I think we talked about it. We've been talking about it as far back as Jamboree, because this series, Jamboree started back in November, I want to say. It was after Mario 64. So yeah, late November was when that series ended. But yeah, man, like, I don't know. We've been talking about it for ages now, just because, again, the first ever news we really got of, oh, you're not supposed to do that. I forgot. Oh no. But it's been a talking point ever since the first bit of news we ever got. Potentially the stupidest death we've had so far. I say potentially. That is 100% the stupidest death we've had so far. There is no contesting that. But, you know, I really do feel like ever since we've been starting to get news on this Switch successor, which we now know as the Switch 2, ever since, you know, President Furukawa tweeted, just doing it in a tweet, I still think is the funniest thing ever. But ever since we got that tweet announcement about its existence period in April of 2024, you know, so even before I started, you know, making these Let's Plays, like, it's wild, man. And it's kind of, you know, also building off of that, a little side tangent, it's kind of, we're not going that way again, it's kind of crazy that, you know, it's already March, well, about to be April of 2025, and, you know, we started doing these Let's Plays in October of 2024. We started it literally October 1st, which, by the way, was not like, oh, it's a new month, I'm going to start this brand new thing. No, it was purely coincidental, and I'm telling you that straight up. And I have no regrets doing it, man. It's like, again, at the end of the day, especially, and I have talked about this before, but, you know, the format that I'm doing, it doesn't really lend itself to being necessarily a channel grower, necessarily. I think I am kind of surprised by, you know, any of the success, really, that it's had, and I'm very, very appreciative for it. But my goal is not really so much to grow an audience. I mean, I'm very welcome to grow an audience where it is, but for me, and I've talked about this, the point of these Let's Plays is to harness back to a simpler time, to kind of embrace a more old school energy, but also to do a style of content that is more carefree and more therapeutic for me personally. And I think it's just really cool to be able to do that stuff. We're going to go back to Gusty Garden Galaxy, I guess. Maybe we won't get to do the other galaxy after all. It's just these last two episodes. It's just going to be Gusty Garden. It's just going to be Gusty Garden. I think I know exactly what we're going to be doing here. Well, actually, no, I don't. Wait, it's saying the Gravity Scramble one. I might know what this is in reference to. I don't think it's a Hungry Luma star. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Oh, this is going to be a mess. Am I going to have to look up a guide in Galaxy? Wow, dude. I feel like I've truly betrayed my roots of acting like I know everything about this game. I mean, it's honestly, like, listen, as much as I praise this game, man, it has been a long time since I ever really did anything with, you know, playing Galaxy on my own time. I mean, I played through a good bit of it on my own once I got 3D All-Stars, but, you know, I didn't play through a ton. I did 120. Well, I did an 120 star. I think I 70 starred Mario 64 on, like, the vacation I went on back in October when I started doing the Let's Plays, you know, during Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, the whole 9 yards, right? What are we doing again? Oh, right. Dude, what? Do I got a brain? And if so, is it functioning? Probably not. I don't know. But, yeah, it's just crazy that we've been doing stuff this long. But, yeah, all things considered, that being said, I feel as if it's very important to just kind of mention that it's kind of crazy that, you know, we're about to enter this new Nintendo era, right? I mean, again, it's kind of building off of the Switch, and literally this exact game that I am playing right now, I could just pick back up on the Switch, which, you know, or on the Switch 2, which is pretty cool. I think I've said this before, but I probably won't be getting a Switch 2 at launch, not because I don't want to, but it's just because I'm simply not able to. But I do think, sucks to suck, man. I do think it is something that I want to get at least in the big 2025, right? That is my big ambition. And, you know, I'm just ultimately really, really curious to see what ends up coming of, you know, the Switch 2. And of course, I think ultimately the big focal point is going to be the games. You know, what kind of games are we going to be seeing? And, you know, of course, we've discussed that at length in these videos, okay? Especially during this Let's Play, we have discussed it at length since, you know, the Switch 2 Direct is a little more than right around the corner at this point. I mean, it is basically... It's here. It's here without being here, is, I think, the funny way of putting it. Because, you know, we We're 2 days away as of the time I'm recording it. Of course, for you guys, the perspective on that is a little awkward because... Oh, that was literally the... Okay, yeah, I had a hunch, but I wasn't too sure. You know, for you guys, obviously, as of the time that this video is going to be coming out, it's been almost a week. You know, boy, does it look silly. Does it look awfully silly the way these videos are progressing? But, you know, there's a part of me that's thinking about maybe recording my reaction to the Direct. I thought about doing that with the March 27th Direct. I didn't end up doing it simply just because, I don't know. Maybe it's just my more focused approach that I'm having and whatnot. But ultimately, if it's something I feel like I'd have fun with, I should have no problem wanting to do that. Okay, so I guess we're tackling this now. It's just a thing we're doing. We're doing the Daredevil comment. I talked about this in the last episode when we did the Major Burroughs fight. But we have to do the Major Burroughs... I think it's just the fight without getting hit, which I don't think should be egregiously difficult. I don't know if they're going to make us do the whole star or not. That's a little up in the air, I feel. Nope, it is just straight up the boss. It's just straight up the boss. Now listen, if I stick to my guns and I don't try and get, you know, cocky like I did when I had died in the last episode during this boss, I should be fine. Well, no, I didn't die. Well, did I die? I don't even remember. Bro, this was like less than 30 minutes ago. You would think I should remember this, but for whatever reason, I just do not. That is the crazy part. Yeah, okay, so we may be able to actually end up... we may be able to actually start the next... Bro, grammar is so... It's just so difficult, man. You know, it's like... I was, once upon a time, I was really, really good at English class. Whoa, calm down. All right. All right. Like, listen, man, laugh it up. Laugh it up. I'm taking a sip of water while you laugh it up. Hits a spot. And in trying times like these where I've got a itchy throat, man, you know, it's a pretty useful resource to have. If that isn't obvious, of course, it's going to be useful resource to have. Doink! What was my control set doing there? Fellas, I should also update you guys. Hopefully this will be a ramble I can do long enough. Well, it will be short enough for me to, you know, be able to not have an unfinished thought towards the end of the episode. But, fellas, retro achievement stuff. I haven't talked about it, actually, for a few episodes, I don't think. Update. I've actually made a very major switch, which is that I am actually... I'm still on my Mario Kart DS achievement set, but I have been wanting to find a way to make doing the achievements feel a little more casual, because I think, unfortunately, one of the big downsides of doing something like achievements is that, wow, it allows me to big-time embrace doing these retro games and really playing a bunch of these games that either maybe I really enjoy, but I just haven't, you know, mustered up the courage to find a way to fully explore in such a long time, or any new games that are maybe akin to something that I really enjoy, right? The only downside to doing retro achievements for it is that, well, you know, the nature of the achievements can be a bit taxing, especially in the midst of certain challenges. Now, at the end of the day, the biggest comment that I could make on such a thing is that it is ultimately a skill issue, and I agree. I agree fully. Let's go ahead and start this new galaxy, which I'm very, very excited for. Freeze Flame Galaxy. This is one of my favorite galaxies in the game, just because of the sort of hot and cold vibes to it. But yeah, so what I have done, and I don't know if this is something that I have brought up regarding retro achievements ever since I started bringing it up during, I believe, last Let's Play. There is sort of a thing that exists with retro achievements where you can either do achievements in what is called hardcore mode or softcore mode. And what those essentially are is they're essentially varying levels of, you know, I guess ways that you could reasonably do achievements that, one of which is a little more hard, if you can guess that's hardcore mode, and one of them is a little more easy, which is, you could imagine, is softcore mode. Basically what you are prevented from doing in hardcore mode is that you can't do anything like save state, or you can't do, you know, doing any frame advancing, which is basically just pausing the game and kind of advancing it frame by frame to give yourself a bit of an edge. That's how a lot of people make the speedrun tasks, you know, the tool-assisted speedruns, if you will. But you can't do any of that. So, you know, essentially the goal with it is that it's kind of giving you the pure experience of how you would do achievements or PSN trophies in the old days where, you know, you're not using... It's like you're not using an emulator, right? And I think to some extent there is some charm to that, right? But I think the novelty of that for me personally, and this is just for me personally, only lasts so long. And as a result, hey, there's that ice flower that we were encountering in the last dome, and that we now officially... Oh, nice shot. But yeah, like, so I don't know. Basically, the thing is that I feel like the novelty of, you know, oh, it's like you're playing it on the real hardware. It's like the real hardware has, it's like the real hardware has achievements and everything. Yes, I get that. Listen, what matters to me is that I'm being incentivized to even play these games to the lengths that I am, period. Games that I wouldn't imagine, you know, sinking so much time into. Mario Kart DS, I could have never imagined sinking over 10 hours into within the course of a little over a week, right? That is crazy to me. That is crazy to me. Ooh, hey, well, good thing this is the last video I'm recording for today, because that is, that was bound to happen eventually. I've been running off of the same Joy-Con battery since I started this Let's Play, which is very funny, honestly. I think the Joy-Con battery is very, very good, but I digress. The point that I am trying to get at... Ooh. Was there a... there was probably a... Okay, yeah. But the main point that I'm really trying to get at here is that, for me, the novelty of trying to make it feel like, oh, it's like I'm playing it on real hardware, and doing achievements that way, that wears off. To me, the fact that I'm even getting so, you know, I'm having this, like, magical feeling and feeling of, you know, wonder while I play these games that I would never normally sink this much time into, that's what's giving me a lot of that revitalized feeling. And that's what I love about retro achievements, is that it encourages such a thing. But to me, I think maybe allowing myself to go into softcore mode, which, to put into perspective, softcore mode is essentially the inverse of hardcore mode. You can use save states. You can use, frame advance. You can even use, like, Game Shark codes for, like, N64 games if you want to. And I know what you're thinking, like, isn't there, like, a leaderboard system to all that kind of stuff? Yes, there is. However, hardcore mode and softcore mode actually have separate leaderboards. So obviously the leaderboards on softcore mode are going to look very scuffed and funny because it's probably a lot of the people who are really, really high up in softcore mode are probably just people who are just cheating through all of the achievements. I will say you can't actually do anything like, you can't do anything like just manually seek into the code of a game and just give yourself the achievement. It has to be something of like, oh, you just like, if it's like Mario Kart DS, oh, it's like you can do a cup and it will always give you 3 stars, no matter how bad you do, right? That is sort of the general thing of what some people will do. And, I think the only unfortunate part that I really don't like seeing, and to some extent it's like I understand why people do this, but to some I don't, is that there is a very, how do I put this? Very somewhat... Did I just get frozen again? Like, did I just get frozen at the exact same time? Nope. Okay. It just so happened that was a very weird position. But, there's a lot of people that are very elitist, sort of, to some extent, about, oh, wow, they're just babies playing in that mode. They're not doing it the true hardcore way. Which I just think is not really too optimal of a thing to say. In fact, it was actually figured out that in terms of user statistic data, most people are playing in softcore mode. It's just, if you're on the Discord or something, man, it's like, you're going to hear, a lot of that crowd is very much hardcore players. And of course, I was a hardcore player for the first 5 games that I mastered. But I just simply want to take things a little more casual. So halfway through Mario Kart DS, I have chosen to switch to softcore mode, which is going to look a little weird. It's like half of them are hardcore achievements, half of them are going to be softcore, and then, you know, future games I'm probably going to do in softcore, and maybe at some point I'll go back to hardcore, but for right now, I just want to stick to softcore and just keep things extra casual. Me, personally, I'm probably just going to stick to doing, you know, stupid stuff with save states, and that's going to be how I do softcore, you know, just give myself a little bit of that checkpoint edge, but not necessarily doing cheats. That's not as much of my vibe. It, you know, to me, that's a little too much of like a ruins a sense of accomplishment for me, and that's the bottom line. But yeah, so I just thought I'd give you guys a little update on that. Hey, the episode's done. We need to stop. It's almost 21 minutes. My right Joy-Con specifically is running a little low on juice. I'm sure my left Joy-Con's also getting there. But fellas, that's going to do it for this episode of Super Mario Galaxy. Fair bit of progress today. I'm glad that we finally got to start the Freeze Flame Galaxy. Didn't know if we were going to because we just had so much to get through in Gusty Garden, but we did eventually get there with a little bit of time and a little bit of elbow grease, and you'll love to see it, all things considered. But I'm very excited to pick back up on Freeze Flame Galaxy because, like I said, that's one of my favorite galaxies in the game, and it's going to be fun to pick back up on that next episode. I may take a few days off of recording, given the situation with my throat, but, you know, who knows? Only time will tell. So maybe I won't actually get back to recording anything for you guys until several days after the Switch 2 Direct, but, only time will tell. Anyways, fellas, I'm going to stop rambling and end off this episode. Fellas, if you enjoyed this video, maybe like, comment, subscribe. I don't know. It's your life. Do what you want. I don't really care. And I will see you fellas in the next video. Bye-bye, guys.